Mark chapter 14. Now it was the Passover, and the unleavened bread after 2 days. And the senior priests and the scribes were looking how by guile they might arrest and murder him. But they said, Not during the festival, in case there might be an uproar of the people. And when he was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he was sitting, a woman came in holding an alabaster flask of ointment, of pure spikenard of large price, and she broke the flask, and poured it on his head. And some were indignant within themselves, and they were saying, Why has this waste of the ointment come about? For this perfumed ointment could have been sold for more than 300 denarians, and given to the poor. And they were incensed with her. But Jesus said, Leave her alone. Why do you cause trouble for her? She has performed a beautiful deed for me. For always you have the poor in company with you, and whenever you wish, you can do good for them. Me, though, you do not always have. This woman has done what she could. She has had the anticipation to anoint my body for embalming. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel will be proclaimed throughout the whole world, what this woman has done will also be spoken of in memory of her. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went off to the senior priests, so that he might hand him over to them. And when they heard it, they were delighted, and they promised to give him money. So he kept searching out how conveniently he might betray him. And on the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover, his disciples said to him, Where do you want us to go and make preparations, so that you can eat the Passover? And he sent 2 of his disciples, and said to them, Go into the city, and a man there carrying a pitcher of water will meet you. Follow him, and wherever he goes in, say to the house owner, The teacher says, Where is the guest room where I can eat the Passover in company with my disciples? And he himself will show you a large upper room spread out ready. Make preparations for us there. And his disciples went away and came into the city, and they found it just as he had said to them, and they prepared the Passover. And when evening arose, he arrived with the 12, and as they were sitting together and eating bread, Jesus said, Truly I say to you, one from among you who is eating in company with me will betray me. And one by one they began to be grieved and to say to him, Surely not I, and another, Surely not I. But in answer he said to them, It is one of the 12, he who is dipping into the dish with me. The Son of Man goes as it has been written concerning him. But woe to that man by means of whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that man if he had not been born. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, and he blessed it, and he broke the bread up, and gave it to them, and said, Take and eat, this represents my body. And he took the cup, and when he had given thanks he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. And he said to them, This represents my blood of the new covenant which is being poured out concerning many. Truly I say to you, I will not drink any more from the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it of a new kind in the kingdom of God. And when they had sung a song, they went out into the Mount of Olives. And Jesus said to them, All of you will stumble on account of me during this night, for it has been written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after my being raised, I will go ahead of you into Galilee. But Peter said to him, Even if all will be offended, however, not I. And Jesus said to him, Truly I say to you today, that in this night, before a rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. But all the more vehemently he kept saying, If it were needful for me to die with you, not in any way would I deny you. And they all said the same as well. And they came into a place whose name is Gethsemane, And he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." And he took Peter and Jacob and John with him, and he began to be struck with amazement and deeply oppressed. And he said to them, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to the point of death. Remain here and keep awake." And he went forward a little and fell on the ground, and he was praying that, if it were possible, the hour might pass away from him. And he said, "Abba, O Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will." And he came and found them having composed themselves for sleeping. And he said to Peter, "Simon, are you composed for sleeping? Did you not have the strength to watch for 1 hour? Watch and pray, so that you might not enter into trial. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." And again he went away and prayed, saying the same thing. And when he returned, he again found them composed for sleeping, for their eyes were heavy, and they did not know how they should answer him. And he came the third time, and said to them, "Are you still sleeping, and taking your rest? That is sufficient. The hour has come. See now, the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, and let us be going. Look, he who is betraying me has drawn near." And just then, while he was still speaking, Judas, being one of the 12, arrived, and with him a large crowd with swords and clubs, from the senior priests and the scribes and the elders. Now he who was betraying him had given them an arranged signal, saying, "Whomever I embrace is the one. Seize him and lead him away, safely secured." And as soon as he arrived, he walked straight up to him and said to him, "Rabbi, Rabbi," and he ostentatiously kissed him. And they thrust their hands on him and seized him. But somebody among those standing nearby drew a sword, and he struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. And in response Jesus said to them, "Have you come out as if against a bandit with swords and clubs to take me? I was among you daily in the temple teaching, and you did not seize me. But this is so that the Scriptures must be fulfilled." And they all forsook him and fled. And one particular young man followed him, having thrown a linen cloth round his unclothed body. And the young men seized him, but leaving the linen cloth behind, he fled from them without clothing. And they led Jesus away to the high priest, and all the senior priests and the elders and the scribes were assembled before him. And Peter followed him from a long way off, as far as into the courtyard of the high priest, and he was sitting with the under officers and warming himself at the fire. And the senior priests and the whole Sanhedrin were searching for a testimony against Jesus as a case for murdering him, but they were unable to find one, for many were bringing a false testimony against him, but their testimonies were not the same. And some rising up brought false evidence against him, saying, "We heard him say, 'I will destroy this temple which is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another one not made with hands.' And so neither in this was their testimony identical." And the high priest, taking a stand in the center, questioned Jesus further, saying, "Do you answer nothing? What are these testifying against you?" But he held his peace and answered nothing. Again the high priest was questioning him, and he said to him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed One?" And Jesus said, "I am he. And you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power, and coming with the clouds of the heavens." Then the high priest tore his undergarments, and he said, "What need do we have of any further witnesses? You have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" And they all condemned him to be deserving of death. And some began to spit on him, and to blindfold his face and hit him, and say to him, "Prophesy." And the under officers were striking him with slaps in the face. And while Peter was in the court below, one of the servant girls of the high priest came forward, and seeing Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You were with Jesus the Nazarene as well." But he made a denial, saying, "I do not know or even understand about whom you are speaking." And he went out into the porch, and a rooster crowed. And the servant girl, seeing him again, began to say to those standing nearby, "This one is from among them." And he once again denied it. And after a little while, those standing nearby said to Peter, "Surely you are from among them, for you are a Galilean, and your dialect gives you away." But he began cursing and swearing, "I do not know this man whom you are speaking about." And a rooster crowed the second time. And Peter called to mind the remark that Jesus had spoken to him, "Before a rooster crows twice, you will have denied me 3 times." And having cogitated over it, he wept.